Hello, today is the 1st of April 2026. Um, in the United Kingdom, where I am right now, we call this the April Fool's Day, and we tend to play jokes on each other, trying to trick people. And I'm here today to bring you a message of hope that is so audacious that to some it may seem a joke, but it is something that can really make a massive difference to our lives, to the lives of those around us, and if enough people take it on, to the whole world. And the beauty is that it's completely free and open to everyone to take part. In fact, it promotes people to come together in order to make a difference. So, in doing so, it fits beautifully with the founding principles of the Sustainable Development Goals, which promised to leave no one behind and reach for the furthest behind first. So let's see what this crazy idea is. Let me pause and go on to a bit of history. About 3 years ago, a group of us who were mainly based at the University of Plymouth came up with the idea of creating uh, an initiative called Colors for Scholars. Colors for Scholars was initially set up to celebrate the lives of international students. And we inaugurated it on the 17th of November 2023, and that coincided with the International Day for International Students, the World Day for International Students. So it was a success. 9 countries took part on that particular day. We had some beautiful interactions, but that was it. It died. And later on, when we began to study why so, we began to realize that we failed in trying to celebrate the lives of a minority. We did not engage with the majority. We didn't engage with the rest of the society. And we thought, oh, we missed a trick. So by the time we came to 2024, November, we changed the program, and we did so by a simple change. We said scholars no longer represent international students, but they represent anybody and everybody who make an impact on the local communities. People who do something that is so valuable that we need to learn from them to preserve what they're doing. So scholars then became everyday people who were making extraordinary difference to local communities. That message took on. The 9 countries became 15, and people began to respond to this initiative. Little projects began to spring up. And then over the course of the year, we launched a social media campaign to highlight personalities who were making this difference. Everyday people making an extraordinary difference. We featured 52 people, and it was such an interesting, motivating experience. As we were coming to the third anniversary, again, November 2025, something amazing happened. Because by now, people are bringing us ideas. And then we met a person called Peter Reed, an amazing educationalist, a Rotarian, a person who was a principal of a school in Plymouth, where I serve. And then he initiated educational programs in countries like Nepal and Ghana. He had loads of experience in empowering people. And he came up with this idea that he was just turning 80, and he wanted to make the time of people over the age of 80 valuable. And he said, let's create a program down the lines of, in this country, in the United Kingdom, we have a thing called the Duke of Edinburgh Awards, where students mainly can take part, youngsters, they can get involved, do projects, do things, which are then measured, and then they are given awards to signify the level of achievement. And those awards really help them gain employment, to gain university entrance, and so on. So that was his idea. Now we were used to getting ideas from the community. This one was so different, so amazingly promising. We immediately convened a group of people to discuss the idea. And then, over the course of the discussions, we came to realize this is wonderful, but we should not limit it to just people over 80. Certainly, we must include them, but let us do it all through the generations. Let anybody of any age take part. And then, in order to look at how we can get about this, we revisited those 52 stories we featured. And then something amazing happened. Because in one, a medical student in United States had written about her inspiration, and her inspiration was her niece, a girl who was barely able to walk. In another, one of our own student leaders, an award-winning student leader, wrote about a parent of his friends who has inspired him by the impact that parent, that mother, was having on the local community. We heard from a daughter who wrote about the father, again in Plymouth, the impact her father was having on her own life as a role model. And then we heard from a scientist who was writing about his dance teacher, who was no longer there, but the impact the scientist had from a dance teacher. So suddenly we began to recognize that magic could happen between generations. So we said, let's make this an intergenerational project. So celebrating age was born. We discussed with many enthusiasts around the world, and then just 2 weeks ago, on the 14th of March 2026, we convened a global virtual meeting. And we had over 20 invitees. It was not open to everyone because we wanted to have a scoping exercise. And we had 20 amazing people from 5 continents, and we discussed this. And each and every one of them, who were all amazing innovators, motivators, wonderful, everyday people who had done extraordinary things, bought onto the idea. So, what we are planning to do now is to launch the project exactly 6 months from today, on the 1st of October 2026. Why is the 1st of October important? It is the day that United Nations has designated for people of old age, sometimes called the World Elders Day. And we are going to launch it on that day, not because it is only for elders, but it will celebrate the coming of a situation where the elders and the youngsters get together to develop projects. And we were discussing, so if this is happening and we have to create a reward scheme around it, what are the challenges? Obviously, one of the challenges is to find a measuring tool, a way of measuring impact whereby we can clearly, consistently compare different things done by different people across the world. And that proved to be a real problem. But then, and this is the beauty of the group we created, we had this amazing social entrepreneur from Mexico who's a social marketing expert. And she came up with the idea, measure the impact, measure the number of people whose lives are touched by this. And then we went to University of Peach, which has an amazing team of experts who can measure the biomedical differences due to things like yoga. They have this amazing group called Goodbye to Stress Yoga who have published at the highest level. And now we are working with them. So on the one hand, we are going to measure the number of people impacted, but we can also use something like a Goodman scale to look at the intensity of that impact. So in one case, a person may form, for instance, I'm bedbound, I can't move about, I create a book club, we discuss books and write a review. Now, that may have 10 people, but how much of the lives of those 10 people had changed by virtue of being able to come together, even virtually, and do something together with a measurable outcome. So we can measure the intensity. Another case, somebody might just create a walking group and they may go on a few walks. That may involve hundreds, but what kind of impact does it have on each individual? We can measure this, and we can create a system whereby we can begin to reward people all over the world in a way that is transparent, that is consistent, that is comparable. So this is a plea to everybody. Now, in our group, in that original 20, we really had that student leader who spoke about a mother of a friend, the medical student who spoke about the niece, the daughter who spoke about the father, the scientist who spoke about the dancing teacher. We got all of them together with other people who are all inspired to do this. Now we want you to join. Please, this is free to join. It's a change that can happen over a period of time, and we can break this horrible situation that exists now, where there is not intergenerational unity, but actually intergenerational stress and disunity. Take some of the polling that we see, some of the opinions that we see, which shows different generations are at complete odds with each other. Why should it be so? We are already divided by religion, by race, by ethnicity, by color, by so many things. Why should we be even divided by within those we call self, who are separated by generation, by age? So we need to bring this together. And in doing so, we will begin to appreciate those who are different, irrespective of where that difference may be, whether it's age, whether it's color, it's religion, anything. This is open to everybody. This is open to you. We still have challenges. We have to define what goodness is, because we can only celebrate what is good. So how can we define goodness if people in different places in life, different times in life, have different values? So we have to begin to start talking. That itself is amazing. The sheer fact that we will get different generations to talk to one another with a similar amount of with shared respect and a shared vision would be a victory. And then look at the outcome. So please, we need the commercial sector to sponsor these awards. This is going to be free for participation to everybody. But to give a meaningful award, it does not need to be money. It could be in kind. It could be something that is symbolic, but something that the person who wins this award feels, I have something of value, would make that person proud to say, I came here. So we need everybody to join. Here in the video is a link to an email address. It is our Colors for Scholars email address. Please write to us. Please join us. It doesn't matter where in life you are, in your age, in your position in society, where in the world you may be. We will work with you. And with time, we will work to overcome barriers, including the barrier of technology, so that even those who cannot take part, if they get involved due to the lack of technology, will be able to contribute. But we need to start. We have 6 months to make this ready so that by the time we will launch it with a sense of clarity and an intensity of enthusiasm. That difference will begin to manifest. Please join us. This is not about making the world just beautiful for our kids. This is not about making the world more beautiful for our elders only, not only our neighbors. This is about making a world that is more beautiful for all of us. We all have a role to play because we all are unique and we deserve an opportunity to celebrate our lives in this world. Thank you.